Hello and welcome to the Work Hates podcast. I'm Ben Lomas. This is Brady Blake. This is about nightmare work stories. We've all got one, whether it is a shit boss, a dreadful workplace, or an insufferable colleague. And if you've had none of those things, chances are you're the problem.
You are the problem. Today we are joined by comedian, golfer, Subaru owner, Ben Lomas.
Oh, yeah, great. It's great to be here.
I am so excited that you are here. Thank you very much.
But thank you. Insufferable colleagues. I mean, I was out the front and I made a call and you answered. You were on the shitter.
I know.
He rang, he goes, can you let me in? I said, brother, I'm on the shitter, dude.
Oh,
Call Bronny.
And he did usually you can tell straight away. You're like, g'day, mate. I'm on the shitter, right?
Mid-push.
And I do it opposite. I'm like, hey, how you going?
Oh, you go louder.
I go really loud.
Why? So there's an echo?
And
Why?
also it covers the blops.
Yeah. I try not to plop. You know what I mean?
Don't answer.
Yeah, you just like...
Don't answer.
I always, I reckon I call 90% of my phone calls are on the shitter.
What do you mean you don't do it? You've got 3 children. Like,
And you answer the phone.
well, that's the only time I've got any spare time. I'm on the toilet. I'll take all calls
I
on the
wouldn't
toilet.
answer. I'll do it on the
man,
toilet.
I do it all the time, and you just end up sitting there for half an hour, and you're like, oh, this fucking...
Oh, see, that's
great.
my poos never go for half an hour. Very quick, in and out, business. Why do you want to sit there for that long? And it's poo
my
smell.
time.
No, but it's your time.
It's my
It's
time.
your
I
poo.
remember when I worked at council and then a mate of mine said, mate, you try and take as many shits as you can a day. I was like, why?
Because you're getting paid to shit.
Yes, exactly. And I never put 2 and 2 together. So I used to at least do 3 a day.
You do. You can just sit in there and not do a poo and then tell them they're not
'cause
going to check.
I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't be there.
Also, you're
I
very
feel
honest,
naughty.
man. You're
yeah,
an
I
honest
was like,
pooer.
I feel like I need to, make my mark.
Make your mark.
I need to
Make my
force
skid
something
mark.
out. If I'm going to be there, I'm forcing
Oh
something out.
my God.
Yeah, but if you got a big work day, you're like, and then you're fucking running around like crazy, like if on a film day or whatever, I'm like, I'm looking forward to doing a shit and having like just...
Especially if you don't like your job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do
okay,
like my job,
that's
but
fine.
I like 10 minutes to myself every day.
10 minutes on the toilet.
I would be on... And man, and they're bad toilets as well.
I
I'm
guess
talking
you're
like
a mum,
portable.
so it's different.
Oh my God. I don't know any woman who sits on the toilet for that long.
because you don't have that luxury. But it's,
My girlfriend was like, what the fuck are you doing in
That's
there? I'm
right.
like, it's my time.
Yeah.
I can hear sometimes when Lucas is on the toilet, I can hear TikTok. I'm
Yes.
like, are you watching something?
Oh, yeah, I think you got to take the phone.
Rookie mistake. You take one of your AirPods and you put them underneath your beanie, and then it does it. You can't hear it.
I don't have a
mistake,
girlfriend.
Lucas.
I bring in
So
the Bose
gross.
fucking speaker. I'm playing it loud.
Yeah, no.
We have 2 toilets at our house, and there's one in the laundry. It's the worst one. But
I'm
I
playing
reckon
that.
if you're going to lean into a half an hour poo, you have to go into the one where no
Yeah.
one's going to go
Yes.
into. But Lucas goes into the toilet that's in the bathroom, where everyone's toothbrushes are, where my makeup is, where the kids, their,
Yeah, you do
their
have designated
hairbrushes.
poo toilets in the
But
house.
yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
Lucas is like, no, I don't like the laundry toilet.
So I'm banned from the 2 toilets upstairs. I have to go.
Go on, Ben.
I have to go under the stairs. So we have one
You have
under the
3
stairs.
toilets.
You fucking Harry Potter doing a shit under the
Yeah,
stairway.
yeah.
Is there a toilet there or?
Yeah.
Bucket and a rag. Yeah.
Oh, I want to pretend I'm in Thailand again.
You have 3 toilets at your house.
Yeah, I know, it's
Fuck,
unnecessary.
must be nice. Jesus
You've almost got
Christ.
a toilet each. For
I know,
everyone
which
to-
is compared to what the place we moved, we just had one. And my son
Yeah.
just couldn't take it anymore. He's like, I can't.
Why? Because you're
he just like
poos.
once he'd have to go after me, and he's like,
Yeah, it's hell.
can we go?
Dad, have you been cutting onions in here? Fucking stinging
Once
the
he
eyes.
goes, can we go to the park?
He wanted to go shit in the park.
He'd rather go to the park toilet than.
Yeah, the girls get upset like that. And Lucas gets upset if they get upset. So that he'll be in there forever. And
Yeah.
the whole, it's just thick
No.
when you walk in.
Oh, it's
He'll
dense.
come
Oh,
out.
it's so dense.
And then the girls will go in because they've been waiting forever to brush their teeth or brush their hair because they have to go to school because they've got responsibilities. Lucas, grow
Yes,
up.
yeah.
Anyway, they'll walk
He
in
works
and
from
they'll
home
go,
as well. He can shit
I
whenever.
know, exactly, whenever. Wait till we're leaving. We will leave eventually.
Yeah. But then when you got to go past a certain age, you just have to go.
Don't defend him. Go
Yeah,
on your
thank
will
you.
defend you.
Then the girls will go in to get their toothbrushes and they'll go, oh, it's disgusting. And then he gets offended because he's very proud. He gets very easily embarrassed. He's like, stop it, leave me alone.
Well, he must love this story on the
Yeah, he loves
Oh,
it.
I'm definitely clipping this one up.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. No, he doesn't listen to every episode. So I'm slowly going to just be putting embarrassing stories that he'll hate
good.
in there just to see if he supports my career.
It's great. Great.
But but if you got the option of I had an outdoor toilet at my old place. I fucking
What?
loved
Mate,
it.
Did you
I
have
had
two?
one as well. well.
Yeah,
I had
And an outhouse.
An outhouse, and I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah. Left, shit with the door open. I was looking
It's
at
the
the
best.
birds.
And then I had
neighbours.
one where I used to time my, this was like years ago, and then I'd time my shits when the sun would hit me on the toilet.
Oh, nice.
So you can time them.
You can't. Yep.
Great.
that was
Good to
15
know.
years ago.
Man, we did it was, I think it was La Brea. It was a big TV series, and we're out in the middle of this fucking, in the forest. and
Well,
they had
must
to
be
leave
nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it
it
was
does.
beautiful. Out in the middle of this forest. And they set up, because we had to run cables for like a month before we even
Oh, must
started
be
shooting.
nice.
What do you mean must be? Do you know what my job is?
I'm aware.
It's fucking awful,
It's
dude.
awful.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
And I'm running power lock. I'm running 90 kilo cables through a forest for a month straight.
No, because I work with a lot of crew. I do this thing quite often. It's like I'll when we're leaving, they have to spend like an hour and a half packing up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I just, for years, I've just been going, sorry guys, I'd stick around and help, but I gotta go.
I've got a
They're always
poo.
like,
The sun's hit the
you.
toilet. Sun hit the outhouse.
It's every film set ever. They're like, all right, and everyone's shaking the hand. They clap for each other. The actors, all right, and then we're just like, oh, I'm going to be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah, when this is over, I will leave, and
Yeah.
then like Benny, you'll leave, and then I'll hang around for maybe 30 seconds, and then I'll leave, and it will look to you, the guest, you think I'm helping. I will not help one single bit. One time I helped, I
Yeah.
fucked it up, didn't I, Bretty? I deleted a whole episode.
She's like, anyway, just yanked the power cord out of the fucking recorder, and I was like, okay, all
And
right.
you weren't drinking at the time, so you had like so much patience. You were just like swimming in kindness.
I was. It was
You
a
were
new
so
me.
you were
I
like,
was-
hey, don't. I was like, fuck. I think I've just fucked this. And Brady goes, hey, don't worry about it. Not a big deal, Bronny. And I was like, isn't it? And then I left, and I was like waiting to hear something smash and him start swearing, but he didn't.
No,
you were a
it
beautiful
was
soul
it was a
then.
bonus set. Accidents happen. I've
does
got a
happen.
backup recorder on here.
Right
Our
there.
fans
Oh, yeah.
are beautiful.
Yep.
So anyway, well, my story was we got to sit in this forest, and they left one fucking shitter out there, and it was the best because I could just shit with the door open
That's
on the
amazing.
set of La Brea. It was beautiful.
There
I
is
was doing the
something to be
best
said
shits.
to
And my mate's like, close the fucking door.
Yeah.
No
Oh, so they're
actors around,
people.
cunts.
Oh, so but they're fine.
Yeah.
So you don't have any respect for the people
My
you work
mates,
with.
they fucking love
They've
it.
seen you do a
They know
poo.
what I'm doing in there. Fuck off.
No, they had a camera on him, and they were like,
Action. It was on deep background.
yeah, right. And yep, pooing, and cut. Okay, we
Yeah.
got it.
It was only the lighting boys. They fucking love me.
They wouldn't have loved that. No
love
one
it.
would love that.
They
If one
love
of
it.
my mates, a lady, just like said, I'm just gonna pop in here to this portaloo, and she didn't close the door, and then I heard a plop, I would be like, sweetie,
It's over.
what are you doing?
I did Melbourne
We're too
Storm's
comfortable.
Mad Monday about 10 fucking years ago.
Yes.
And they paid us heaps of money not to tell any of the stories, but guess what I am?
Oh.
And they had like, because obviously the boys, they're fucking on a blinder. It's Monday. They won, I think, that year. I don't even fucking
Who
know.
cares?
Who cares? They're on it. But then some guys, mate, there's fucking no toilet roll left in the toilet. And I was like, well, I don't think any of you boys have been doing shits in the toilet. I mean, you're all in there, but I don't think none of you are doing
Yeah,
shits.
right.
And I went in, I was like, all right, I'll go bring some toilet roll in there. And there was just the biggest dude in the world, like fucking rugby dude, like shirt off, naked, doing a shit, and just 8 blokes around him with pints just having a yarn. Like, and you could hear him just like casting up a storm down there, like just
Yeah.
shitting. Like, and I was like, you guys are fucking animals, and they're just having a beer around him. I was like, that's the brotherhood.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Like, they grow up like those Mad Mondays when they're like, before they become pro. You hear some of those. I've worked with guys like that, and they're like, oh, you've missed out. And then you hear the stories about them just doing the most heinous shit. I was like, I'm okay.
They're like, we've paid 2 undercover. They go, boys, we've paid 2 undercover cops to be here, so you got to behave yourself. We're not going to tell you who they are. And I was like, oh, I reckon it's the 2 smallest guys here.
Do you go jeans and
Why would they
runners?
do that?
Oh, they want them to behave because they don't want to have a bad reputation for the club. So they hide out this
That's
whole.
clever.
How fucking brilliant is that?
They
Instead of doing any sort of form of education, the only way you can get them is to hire undercover police.
Yeah.
Fuck
or
me,
or
dads.
plainclothes police or whatever it
What
was.
a
But it-
band-aid approach that is.
But also the cops were fanboys, like, do whatever you want, boys, have a great day. And I was like, they're not even stopping them doing shit. It was fucking
And
rules.
also, is that a gig? We got a gig for you, right? That's your side hustle as an undercover. Oh god,
Man, I
that's
just
tragic.
was serving them shots all day. They hired out the whole bar. It was fucking awesome.
Mate.
Loved it.
But
Besides-
also, like for years, I worked in bars and clubs, like like 15 years. And I remember in 2000, I was the barman for when Essendon won the grand final. And back then, they didn't have like, they'd hire out a full hotel. But back then they hired the garden at the Depot Hotel, which is on Swan Street in Richmond, which is near the G, right? And so the rest of the pub was open to the public, and then all the Essendon players came in. So I was just there serving them in like this, sort of Hawaiian-themed bar as they were walking around there. And then I remember them just absolutely getting blind. But then it's like you see them just absolutely let loose, because I remember Barnes, who went from Geelong to there, was smoking, I've never seen it, 4 cigarettes at a time.
My God.
Because he wasn't allowed to smoke while he was playing. And he had like 1 year that he played with Geelong as right, and he was just smoking.
But 4 at once. I've missed out. I'd eat them
Yeah,
all
and they
now.
were just getting blind and just getting so messy. And then the public weren't allowed in, but they were just watching them through a window, like it was like you're at the zoo.
Yes, it wouldn't have been far off looking at the animals in there.
Oh, my
Yaki,
Lord.
Hawaiian. I love Hawaiian theme because Essendon is famously very tropical.
I
This
love,
is very
I love
good.
that interview they have with Ben Cousins, and he talks about getting on it after finals and stuff. And he goes, mate, day 2 is better than day 1, day 3 is better than day 2, and like he gets up, he goes, and I've spent 15 grand on day 10, so I may as well keep going to day 11. I'm having a good time.
The worst documentary.
You're like, what the
to glorify taking drugs in sport.
Oh man, and everyone in WA bought his book and was like, hell yes.
Yeah, he's
bizarre.
landed on his feet, hasn't he? He's fine, hasn't he?
I
He's
think
doing
he's come
the
around.
news. He's doing the news.
come
over
around.
Perth.
As in, like, his career-wise, he's got another opportunity,
The guy
hasn't he?
hasn't aged. It's phenomenal.
And he's still way more jacked than me. It makes for a
Mate.
fucking former junkie.
'Cause
He's
I-
gone full circle. He went off the rails.
I
for
met
a
him
long
like
period of time.
maybe like 6 months ago, and I was just like,
Oh, really?
wow. Yeah, I was
And
like,
does he look all right?
He just looks so good.
And
Like,
did he
it's
seem all
disturbing.
right?
Man, he's totally fine. He's mates.
Oh, yeah.
mates
Was
are
Brady there?
No, he's got this great story. He's like, I went in his book, and he's like, it was Christmas, and I wanted to go out and get my wife a present. So I wanted to buy like a scooter, like a Vespa or whatever. So I went out, bumped into a couple of the boys. This is 2 days before Christmas. Bumped into a couple of boys. I don't know what happened. Next thing you know, I come home a couple of days later, Christmas Day. I rock in. I've got the scooter. I'm like, there you are, sweetheart. Merry Christmas. And she's losing her mind at me, and she's like, Benny, it's New Year's. He was like out for a 10-day bender.
Wow.
He's like, really? Oh, I didn't know you missed Christmas.
How he's not dead is amazing.
It is amazing.
It is amazing. What a legend.
Mate, everyone, man,
What a great guy.
What a guy.
He is
What a role model.
He has never bought a beer in Western Australia. There's no way. It would
not.
not have happened.
No, but all those WA players don't have to. Like, if they're recognised.
Fucking gods.
So.
Benny, we have had you on the pod. We've been wanting you on the pod for so long. Not for your AFL knowledge.
Well, no.
Okay, but thanks for sharing it. Look, I don't know. Like, one time we had a car racer on here, and then I spent the entire time trying.
Was that his professional name?
Yeah.
Car racer.
Car racer.
Why we not? Because I have to write this stuff on Instagram. I'm like, what is he? I'm like, Formula. Is it Formula One?
No, it's
No, see, that's why I
Supercars.
didn't
And then
write it.
You wrote Supercar Champion, and I had to change that because he's not technically hasn't won the Supercar Championship.
Oh, see,
Needs a
fuck.
better
I had to
car.
fix it.
No, he needs a better car. He can borrow mine. It's on the way
Bron
out.
must have been listening to him because I was in the car with Bronny on the weekend, and she was like on 120 around a fucking corner, and I've never I ride, and I was like, Bronny, please slow down. I was like, it's 40. And she's like,
Why is that? It was the
120
highway.
to a service station.
Kids to school.
Yeah, I've never been more scared for my life.
What? I drive fine.
You're a great driver.
Don't
I don't want to
say
get a
that.
lay pass. I don't want to get a lay pass.
Like, there's a kangaroo on the road. There's a kangaroo on the road. She's like,
I don't want to be that parent that everyone talks about.
I am that parent that everyone talks about, and that's fine. Give them something to talk about. They got
absolutely.
nothing on. They got nothing on. But Benny, I'm really pleased that you're here. We
Yes.
love that you are here. And can you please tell us what is the worst job you've ever had?
I reckon the worst job that did the most amount of damage to
Yeah.
me was I.
come on, tell us your trauma. Who was the
Already
booker?
excited.
It was a community event. No, it was. I was for nearly close to a year. I was a recycling runner and a garbo.
Oh, really?
Oh, I did not know this.
So
Okay.
and it absolutely. So when I finished high school, all my mates' dads, we all couldn't, had to find work. But all mates' dads were head of unions, so they could get us in anywhere. And the best paying gig was a recycling runner or a garbo at the
Okay.
big depot out in, I think it was Kensington or Kingston.
A
at the time.
recycling runner. What's the
So-
difference between that and a garbo?
Well, so back in the day, and this is what destroyed my body, is they didn't have the recycling yellow bin that it is now. It was just a big black tub.
Oh, the tubs. I do remember the
okay.
tubs.
The
Yeah,
big
yeah.
black tub. And so, which was horrible because then what happens is everyone in the street could see how much you could drink.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Right,
so the
that's
tub.
annoying.
So,
Thank God for the lid now.
Yeah,
you know?
thank
so
heavens.
from pretty much from like the crack of dawn till about, just a bit after midday, I would run and have to pick up sometimes they were 30, 40 kilos and then put them over my head and then throw them into the back of a truck.
And you must have got injured from that.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you still injured from that?
Yes,
Do you reckon?
100%. Like so many years on. But it was but the thing about it was like, the other people who did those jobs didn't have a loving upbringing. They didn't they were ex-cons. They were just the roughest of the rough. And I worked with some of people I would never think in my life to cross paths with them. And then they also hazed me, which I was unaware at the time, where I remember once I rocked up there and I was in the truck and it was a cycling on and it was like, I can't remember the two guys, but they were both two Maltese guys. They've been doing it for 10 years, right?
So they're jacked as shit as well.
Yeah, they
but
would
just
be.
odd. They were just
Okay.
odd, right? And they had a sixth sense, like they were like, like you read about it, but then, they'd find a bin and then it'd be like paper and they're like, hang on. And then at the bottom, they'd find a porno. I was like, I knew it.
Wow.
Wait, that's their sixth sense. Not
That's
seeing dead
not-
people. I can feel a pussy close by.
It's 100%. Like I remember once he's like, no, definitely this one. But I was like, how do you know? He's like, you just know. I was like, what do you mean you just know? And so
No.
the whole front dashboard was filled with like people hiding pornos in the trying to get rid of them and putting them in the recycling when they did paper. It was just so weird, right?
Maybe they knew because the person who owned the house had a half mongrel and they were standing out the front looking quite sheepish.
Yeah,
They're like, that one.
But also, where we did like fancy suburbs, they were throwing bins at Mercs. They were just like, it didn't
Really?
Oh, mate. He goes, hey, you know what we said? If you see a Merc, don't put it on the footpath, put it on the bonnet.
What? And they did.
They did 100%. No, you throw it from the truck. Like, it was insane. But I remember these two old dudes, like, they were like, I'll never forget. They were like, okay, yeah, we had to go to Surrey Hills and had to take the Eastern Freeway in Melbourne, right? And they're like, back on. And I was like, I'm not going to go on the truck. He goes, nah. So I had to hang on the back. And
Down the freeway?
Down the freeway. And I remember holding on for dear life. Like, for dear life.
Yeah.
And they were going 110. And I was like, this is fucking, and I would get off.
Oh yeah, and they're not going the speed limit either.
No, but then what I didn't know is I tried to play it cool. I go over the truck and I'm like, hey, you did it, boys. And they go, you did it, mate. I was like, oh yeah. I thought it was a bit weird. He's like, no, you passed. You know what? You didn't even do it with the safety rails. So they didn't even put the step down. So I was kind of holding onto a side of a gutter and then wrapping my arm around the rail. I remember just going, this is fucked.
Also, the hazing. Oh, you did it. What was the other option? I'm dead, cunt. You know what I mean?
And this is the weirdest interaction because then like I did it. I had to do like 3 weeks with these guys. And look, they were fast. They were always finished. Work. And then one day they were gonna go. And they were like, they were there, and this is when I was like, I might be on my way. Well, I said I didn't want to work with these because they were like 3 in a truck, right? And I was to the left, his mate in the middle, and the guy driving. And the guy driving goes, yeah, us Maltese, man. We got big dicks. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, good. I goes,
Cool.
He goes,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Must be nice.
He goes,
Once again,
yeah,
must be nice.
Yeah, check out. And then he just
No, he
grabs his
didn't.
mate's dick and flops it out for him and goes, see? And I'm like, oh.
No.
And then flops it back in, and he had his arms crossed going, just nodding. And I'm
No.
like, I was
And
like,
you were 18 at this stage.
18.
Great.
And I was just like, what's
See,
this?
again, I don't like to say that genders are different, but women would just not
mate.
do
You wouldn't flip out your
anything-
mate's pussy
I
and show him.
but
She's
just
got a big old mutt.
like,
Check
as-
this out.
But as you're saying this, I'm like speechless, and Bretty's like, "Oh, did he? Oh, okay."
Yeah,
like
I
this
know,
is.
I know.
I was
oh
like,
yeah.
I was like,
What?
I told you a pretty funny story about my uncle on the weekend.
Yeah. But you guys, actually.
So I was like, that did not shock me at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like that. How? Yeah, I don't know when, because you, as an 18-year-old, would have been like, "Oh my god, this is a lot." But for me, I'm like, "Did you call the police?"
No, it's none of
What
that.
do
You,
you-
just went, oh, can I prefer, well, that I switched from recycling, I went to garbage. Because I thought I didn't want to insult
Couldn't
them. So I
get
was
any
like,
more filthy.
Could I get
Yeah.
to garbage because it's hurting my back? And it was destroying my back. And I was like, and so then I went to garbage. But then that's where my first day on garbage was I rocked up and he goes, how many years did you do?
Oh yeah, perfect.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, and I just said 1.
Oh, no, dude.
And then I was like, nah, I haven't. And then it was just awkward. And then I just, was in a truck for like a week and a half with arguably one of the most racist people I ever met.
Yeah, but it would have been easy for you to make up a crime because you had just experienced one. Like,
Yeah, but it was
I
just-
showed my dick to an 18-year-old who definitely didn't deserve it.
But then it's like, but it just wrecked. Like by the
Yes.
end of that, my bottom two vertebrae was just destroyed.
How much an hour? I want to know.
Back then, it was so good. It was like back then, and we're talking over 20 years ago. It was. I remember sometimes in the high 30s per hour.
Oh,
That's
great.
good. That's
Yeah.
like 60
Mate, it was
bucks.
saved up for you. Like that's the thing. You saved up. I had all
Yeah.
this money. Like I was like,
But you
Spend at the
did- you did-
chiropractor.
I mean, I did. I just destroyed my back for the rest of my life.
But you got to see a pretty sweet dick, dude. So that's not...
Mate, it was.
I
a
love it.
snake.
I love that he has a sixth sense for finding secondhand porno.
Mate,
It's
and
a
it was all.
fucking rule.
And back then, it was never good porn. It was always the People's Magazine,
Yeah.
or the one where it was just like, this.
A mate's
I
mum
don't know
had
what
a
that
big
is.
stack of them, and they were always full bush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And where we would sometimes go to do the garage runs, it was like you'd look at they'd look at it and go, check out her, and I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if she lived in that house.
Oh my god!
I'm still obsessed with the people who used to send themselves in at the last two
Yeah,
pages.
yeah, yeah, I know exactly
I
what you're
love
talking
it. It's
about.
like, check this out. Dude's just sending in, like, brother, put a bit of blood in it. Put it in, sending in a flaccid. You're
I
like,
just remember just like going, but then I remember even like as a young person, I was like, but someone bought this.
Yeah.
So someone bought this. So someone went, today's the day.
and they're
I'm
not,
buying this.
and they're not cheap either.
Back then it was really expensive. Like,
and you have to. The worst part about buying a porno is you have to have like a magazine. You had to have full eye contact with another
Why?
human
Yeah,
being,
and you used to-
and wait for change.
because I was a
Yeah.
paper boy as well for like my first job, and so then the boss back then, he would say, it was the whole thing. It's like they get the paper, put it in the middle, fold it, hang on, show that you've bought it, then fold it back again.
So you get the porno, put it in the newspaper,
then go
open
to the
it.
counter, open and go, that's what I bought as well. And I'm like, okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right. Why has Dad
Okay.
got 20 newspapers?
Yeah.
He loves the news,
He
mate.
loves the
Fucking,
news.
he's a pig for the
mate.
news, mate.
Needs to know if the
So
stock
you
market's
have
up.
just seen this like scum of the earth since a very young age, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't call them some of the word. It's just that thing where it's like,
It's good money,
it's
and
good
they
money,
don't check your
and
background.
like especially for all the ex-cons, I was like, where else are they going to go?
Well, that's great. They need a job. They need
need
a
a
job.
job. They
That's
need a
fine.
job.
And that weird thing is like, after a while, I was like, and they're out, they're keeping out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love my garbage man. I love when he comes because you've got heaps of kids. His garbage bin fills up.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you like
especially,
count
yeah.
down the days. Or
Yeah.
after a birthday party, you like count down the days for a recycling bloke to come.
Mate, they
you
love-
have no idea how sick they are in the head. Now I know they're showing their penis to poor little teenagers.
No, it was
Have a
it was
look
a
at
wild
this.
west then. 'Cause,
And,
yeah.
and your back's still damaged from it.
Yeah, it's never been the same. I mean, now the two vertebrae have just there's bone on bone, which is good.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I
no,
used to think
you want
garbo
that.
was the coolest job ever because I was obsessed with the tip as a kid. Like, I loved
Yeah.
going
We
to the
could have
rubbish
same.
told you that.
You could throw rocks at shit. It was fucking awesome.
I remember
throw
what-
paint cans. I remember asking Mum. She's like, "Where do you want your birthday?" And I was like, "The tip." And she's like, "Absolutely not. We're going to McDonald's."
I remember I used to go to the tip with my dad, but then my dad was a physio, and quite often there were heaps of patients who couldn't pay,
Yeah.
so they'd pay and whatever. Like we used to have heaps of old ladies who used to pay in pasta, and we never even know what we were going to eat for dinner. It'd be like whatever.
That's nice.
Marie bought, and Mum and Dad were really great for the community. There was this guy who made his homebrew beer, and he put like a real effort into it. Dad took one sip of it and went, "This is shit house," but then we'd get crates and crates of it because he felt bad because Dad would treat him right, and then the only way he could pay was in beers. But then what we do is he gets so excited because then at the tip, you would just shake him.
Oh, yes.
Shake him, and then just throw it the thing,
Oh, so you
the
take the
compressor,
beer.
and it would just blow up, and it was fun.
So you took the beer straight to the tip.
Straight to the tip.
Oh my God, imagine if he watched you do it. Imagine if he was at the tip at the same time. You're like, what are you doing? It was my...
I would have been in there
Delicious.
drinking the free beer,
Yeah.
throwing rocks at shit.
Oh, Peter was a labourer, and
So your dad got you the job as a garbo. And
No,
then
my
you-
friends' dads. My
Oh,
friends'
okay.
dads were all.
But then did your dad treat you because he was a physio?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I have I have so many injuries. Every part of my body
Yeah.
is absolutely messed up because I was a labourer. I did garbo recycling work, and then after that, when I realised I couldn't do it anymore, I was just in nightclubs and bars for
Okay.
years. And then
Still a bit of lifting there. Did you just ask someone else to do it? I'm
yeah,
not picking
yeah, yeah.
that.
Because
Yeah,
once you become
great.
like a bar manager and stuff, then you would just get all the bussies like to do it.
You do nothing.
And then
Yeah.
just you just
Hit on chicks, baby.
But then I used to work at a hostel bar where.
Oh, that would rule. Yeah.
So for years, I worked I was doing uni. I worked at a hostel bar, but this hostel bar was shut off to the public. So I would then have control of the hostel bar. There were 600 people in this hostel, and they would all come down to the bar.
Was it cheap? Was it
So cheap?
Yeah,
but then I
imagine.
would get my 4 mates who would come down here, and they would be the only 4 Australians in the bar, and I would watch them lie through their teeth as they picked up. And it was like, they still talk about how it was one of their happiest times in their life, because I would watch my friend Joe just at the side of the bar chatting to a chick way out of his league, and she's just excited that he's got an accent. And then I'd hear him stuff like, yeah, well, I know, I just surf maybe once or twice a week. And
Don't even have a board.
and I'm there going, I know you're scared of the water. I know. I'm terrified of the water.
When I used to live in St Kilda, I used to go to the backpackers bar because it was cheap.
So
beers.
cheap.
And they used to do like homemade lasagnas for like $4. So you're like, fuck yeah, I'd go get a feed. There'd be all these beautiful ladies, $4 drinks. I was like, hell yeah. They had the comedy gig there in that bar in St Kilda. Did you ever do that one?
I think I did do that one.
I had some horrible deaths there as well.
yeah, I think I'm
I
pretty
can't
sure.
come back to this bar ever again.
Yeah, no, it was, but that's one of those jobs where I loved it. Like I absolutely but then I just had so many, just like I got fired from that job, I think 4 times.
Yeah.
Because I kept getting hired time and time again, because we get like a new bar manager, right? And I wasn't doing it; I was just at uni, and then the bar manager would end up hating me because I just had all these.
Is it because you let 4 predators in every single night? Is that why?
Or the fact that I just had so many scams going, because
great.
they had so many, for instance, I would do this thing where we had crab racing, right? And so they had like little hermit crabs, right?
I love this already.
So what happens is they would buy 3 pints and then they'd get a ticket. It was just encouraging them to drink because 1 pint's not enough. Better buy 3 at a time, right?
Great.
And so then they get a ticket, right? And then they would have heats and rounds. Now I knew that most of the crabs were dead, right? Okay. So
I have insider knowledge.
And I know that Crab 1 of the Crabinator, right, it was just like, would win all the time. So then I would make sure that when I handed over the tickets, they were random, I'd hand it to the backpacker that I knew would never leave the hostel. He's just like, so many of them would come and they would never leave. They wouldn't travel. They'd just sit there, watch the Premier League, have a wank in an 8-person dorm and then go home, right? And so then I would do that, knowing that the prize was a $500 voucher, right? That then in the end, right at the night, it was like he'd win and then he'd be the barfly. And I was like, you know what, mate? You're not going to use that $450 voucher. You know what? The drinks are on me tomorrow. Just hand it over. And then I'd put it on the pinboard and then I'd sell it to another backpacker the next day.
That's actually very smart.
That's really smart,
very
dude.
smart.
Yeah.
And I had so many of them.
Got arrested, went to jail, back to being a garbo.
Back to
Perfect.
it. But like so many. Like I had another one was Killer Pool where all the backpackers would chuck in $5 each, right? And the game is that you hit a ball, right? And like you have to just get a ball in. If you get a ball in, you don't lose a life. You have 3 lives. And you just go down and last person standing takes the money. So what I would do is I had a pool table when I grew up, right? But I was also working behind the bar. So what I do is I put myself first, and then you get 2 shots on the break. And then I would put all the drunk, or especially the drunk women who I knew would get wasted at the end, because I knew that they would set me up for the next shot when I was back at the top again. So often there'll be like a kiddie of like, I don't know, a couple $100. I would win. Then everyone would complain and go, oh, nah, this is bullshit. You can't when you work here. But I'd already gone to the bottle shop and bought 2 bottles of schnapps. I was like, well, the cocksucking Cowboys are on me. And then everyone would forget about it.
Oh my Lord. I love it.
I had so many. That was like one of the best jobs. So it's just paid through
Yeah.
uni.
How long did you
And
do
you just
it
get
for?
blanket the whole time.
Absolutely, 100%. Like I did it for about 3 years, pretty much my whole uni. I did that, and then just built up like contacts. And when I went overseas, I just had a million
heaps.
places to stay. And
very
there was
clever.
just one after the other. Like you would have loved it. So
You would have loved it, Brady.
You would have
Yeah,
loved it because then
correct.
people would go, oh, I need to sell my car. I've got a bloody combi with all the gear. I was like, that's no good. When are you leaving? Tomorrow, next week. I've got a guy. Okay, I didn't have a guy.
$200.
I didn't have a guy. I was like, oh, he's coming through. Nah, he failed. I'll pay for 500.
Oh my God.
It was just that after that. Then you'd put it back on there. Then you wouldn't have to change the rego. You just sell it as it is, $2.5 grand. It was
Yeah.
It was so
The
much
Wolf
fun.
of No Street over here.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
those criminals taught you a thing or
Yeah.
two whilst you were there.
They don't want to hang out with you, brother. You are the low breed there. They're like, this guy's got so much. I'm just jacking off my dick to these pornos I found. You got 18 scams going.
I hate hostels. I think they're just the
Mate,
worst
they're the
place.
worst, they are.
Worst place.
And
So filthy.
And they had a room, there's 22 people.
Oh, no.
I remember just going in there. I had to go in once because someone left their wallet down there. And I was like, who chooses to sleep in here?
Well, no one chooses it.
I don't think I stayed into because when I went away younger, like got my girlfriend was like, I'm not fucking staying in a hostel. So
Very
we stayed
smart.
in kind of just basic places, but I didn't stay in a hostel till maybe I was like 22, 23.
Oh, yeah. Too late. It's
And
too late.
Too late, yeah.
Yeah, you've got
I
standards
know,
by then.
and
I
they-
did
yeah.
at 18, 19.
And
yeah.
I was like, I'll just get a 4-bedroom dorm. It's fine. And these guys look pretty chill. And then I was on the top bunk, and there was just a dude banging a chick down, and I was just in a threesome, but not having any fun. You know what I mean?
To
I was
wait
like,
for it to be over.
and then the room smells like sex. There's no fucking
gross.
ventilation.
It's
I saw a white cockroach. It was beautiful.
Oh.
Do you know,
It was a majestical, yeah.
just,
rare.
just a cockroach covered in cum.
Yeah, maybe that's why it was white. I was like,
my
look at this majestical
How
cockroach.
beautiful is Budapest?
Oh, my God. It's
My
very
parents
symbolic.
still tell me, they go, oh, we go, when we go, because they hike all the way, we stay in backpackers all the time.
Yeah.
I like the energy, you get to have, I was
Energy.
like, what? I only found out this recently, like, what are you doing at backpack? Oh, I love having like mum's in the kitchen having a yarn to everyone, making dinner.
I used to do this announcement when the bar was open. It was called the Rhubar, right? And then I would do this announcement where I'm like, and then I remember I broke this guy. I was like, hey guys, you're probably in the kitchen cooking pasta and pesto for the 9th night in a row, but hey, why not come down to the backpackers? And he just came down. He's like, that's all I can afford, mate. Like I was like,
The
I was
grimace
like,
meals.
Oh,
Tuna
no.
brown rice again,
Just-
champ.
Just
Yeah.
eating the same meal or watching 4 backpackers argue because they've all just split it and then worked out how to save money. No one's got any money.
None.
It's
But
like,
they
Dad,
want,
get out of
and
there.
they're so maggot all the time. The worst hostel story I've got is when I was in Bath in the UK, and I went with a mate who turned out he was a massive fuckhead. But anyway, like I didn't know that at the time. We went to this hostel, and we were in like a 12-person dorm, but we went down. There was a dungeon. I feel like every hostel I ever stayed at, there was a dungeon
There's
where
always.
everyone would go. It was
Yep.
like underground.
That's
no
where the bar was.
windows. Oh,
Yeah,
baby.
no windows. There was no windows in the bar.
Horrible.
Like,
But there was on the coffee table there was a funnel, because that was how people would drink the fastest. So there would be a funnel and a hose,
Yep.
and then they would always everyone was just getting so munted. And I'd been in a number of hostels by now to be like, oh, I get it. Everyone just gets blackout drunk. Goes to bed. But I was 18, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll have one. And there was this one guy in the corner of the room who was not a part of the group, who was this like really skinny like ranger, really skinny, and he was just staring at me. And I was like, I said to my mate, he's really creeping me out. And he goes, he's fine. Look, he's little. Just leave him alone. And I was like, okay. And every now and then I'd get carried away, and then I'd look back, and he was still staring at me. I was like, I fucking do not like the look of that guy. I don't like it at all. At one point I got drunk enough, and I was like, can you just stop looking at me? Like, that's all I need. Just stop looking at me. And he was like, okay.
You still
Mate.
Just kept staring. And then I got so drunk because the fucking funnel, and I got so drunk, and then I blacked out, and I woke up in my bed, and I was like, holy hell, how did that happen? And I could not remember the last part of the night. I was like, that makes me feel sick. And I went down and had a shower. I started walking around the town. I messaged my mate and I said, I'm out for a walk. I don't know how the night ended. He goes, you don't remember leaving with the ginger guy?
no.
And I was like, no, I don't remember leaving with the ginger guy. What are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, well, I asked you if you were sure, and you were like, yeah, I'm definitely sure. And I was like, I do not remember that at all. And I felt sick, and it was my birthday. It was my 19th birthday. I was walking around Bath feeling sick in my stomach. I'm like, what did I do with that ginger guy? He was so creepy. He was so gross. I was like, and all the horrible questions you have to go through, like, did we use protection? Did it even do that? Like, I don't even know. And it all just felt so, and I was like, oh no. I went through the whole day, went out and was trying to like fix it with like, I'll just have a nice breakfast, without going, am I all right? And then I got to the end of the day, like 4 p.m. My mate had finally woke up. He messaged me, he goes, where are you? I said, I'm just here, came and met me. And he goes, happy birthday. And I said, it's not been a happy birthday, mate. I've had the worst day of my life because the ginger guy. And he goes, what are you he goes, I was joking. You went to bed by yourself.
That is so brutal.
My whole day. I still feel
have
sick
scrubbed
about
my vagina for 2 hours, mate. This is
I was
not
sick
cool.
the whole day.
But it's so funny because I'm not surprised, that story, and you can put this in or not, but it's just like I was so always on the out for creepy guys and girls blacked out. And the amount of times I took them back to their room because I knew that there was a guy creeping. And then there was one guy in particular. And look, if I had my time again, I probably would do things differently. But I had to check the bathroom. And when I went in the bathroom, there was a girl unconscious and there was a guy pulling down her knickers, right? And I'm like, nah, mate, not happening. Time to go. And he pushed me, goes, nah, mate, she's keen. I was like, she's unconscious. She can't tell, so it's not happening. And then he pushed me. And then I'm like, it's not happening. He goes, back off. And I just clocked him.
Yeah.
Just clocked him, right?
Woo!
But then I took it a little bit too far. I said, I want you to apologise.
To who?
To the girl.
She's asleep, mate.
And I went a
The girl that's passed out.
Yeah,
Good.
and I went, and I got a bit psycho. And again, I to this day,
No, I love it. This
But then
is
I was like,
beautiful.
apologise, and I was like, and she goes, I'm going to be really careful. But I was like, she can't hear. I was like, I know. So therefore, she can't say yes. Right? And
Yes.
then I may have not punched him again, but whatever.
Good.
But I was so angry because I was like, this is someone's daughter, someone's sister. Like,
Yeah.
And then I said, you're out of the hostel. You're out of the hostel. So I said, go get your belongings, right? And then I told security, I was like, you're out of the hostel. And then, of course, I got another security female, so we got to take her up to the room, put her to bed, right? And then he came out and he goes, I need my passport. I was like, oh, yeah, you've got your passport. And then just ripped it up in front of him.
Oh, very good. That's good. He
ripped him up.
shouldn't. He shouldn't
Man,
be allowed to go
I thought
anywhere.
easy to go, and
That's
I took
great.
it too far. And when I knocked him out, then I had sex with him to teach him a lesson. I was like,
That
oh,
would be too far. You're right.
that would be
That's
too
that's where
far.
my little brain went straight
You
away.
ripped up his passport.
Yeah, I
That's
remember ripping
great.
up his passport. And I remember Andrea, the woman who was there at the time, she was like, I ain't going to cross you, Ben. This Canadian woman.
Now back to my scams. Yeah.
Now, let me count my cash.
Can I ask a question? And I'll cut this out if it's not something you want to talk about. But I have a memory of you going to clown school. Or being a clown for a period of time.
You think this is the inappropriate part of the
This is-
podcast?
I know.
We have
Well,
crossed.
sometimes- Ben just rooted a passed out dude to teach him a lesson.
I did clown school at high school.
Right.
So I didn't go to clown school. It was a subject at a school I went to, and so you could pick subjects where it was like unicycling and juggling.
Can you
and,
unicycle?
Well, I couldn't do it anymore, but I could at the time. And then
I thought you were a clown for a period of time.
No, I wasn't. Because then it was like I went to this school, and then every 20 years they held a circus, and then my parents were just devastated because they took out a fortune to send me to a private school and took out maxed out the mortgage on the house, and then the subjects were Diablo, unicycling, and juggling, and they're like, kill me.
You poor European parents.
I know.
Like, we've
and
made a huge mistake.
But then I was a clown for a period because I was like, if I was like 14 or 13, 14, and then I would. Then my dad wanted to learn how to unicycle, so then what we did, because we thought we were so funny, is we'd ride the unicycle, but then we'd have two unicycles, and then we'd put handlebars in the front one, so it looked like we were riding a normal bike, and then as we were riding, then we'd just lift up the other one and half the bike and carry it.
Very good.
Nice.
That definitely would have made definitely would have made your mum cry.
Yeah, no, I did. That was just a short period, but
Yeah.
no, it was just like because it was funny. Like I was thinking about all the jobs I had, I liked. Like I actually liked most of them.
But that's you though, Benny. You make the most
Yeah,
out of things.
and it's the people you work with. Like I still have friends with my jobs I had years ago.
Yeah.
But then the one job I disliked the most was the one I studied for. And then I became an urban planner, and there I was in local government going, well, this is fucked.
Yeah.
None of this is fun. Sure,
None
I'm
of
getting paid a little bit more.
You were, I think, because we first met at the Exford.
Ooh, very
back
nice.
in the
Yes,
day.
back in the day.
Very
we
nice.
used to fucking turn on the gas back then.
God, Thursday nights.
Thursday night we'd get blackout drunk together. It was
Was there a
fucking
ginger
awesome.
man there watching you?
But yeah, there was a man
Yeah,
Good
staring
on
at
him.
us.
I hope he's well.
He's
But
not-
but I think you were a town planner then. Is
Yes,
that
yes,
right?
absolutely.
And you hated your
Oh,
job, and I'd be
I
like,
just-
brother, go home. I got nowhere to go. It'd be like 2 a.m. and we're like on our 20th VB.
And then I would sometimes know that even when I had children, I knew that Thursday night was the only night I could get drunk because I didn't want to waste the weekend with the children, right?
Yep.
And even then, but then on worse than that is on Friday mornings at council, I used to have to mentor a young town planner. And so I already knew that I would block out the Friday mornings, right, with meetings, right?
Yes.
But then have an understanding that this student town planner would get an amazing, review for me, and then I would feed up.
Very good.
Knowing that they'd cover my ass as I slept for hours in sick bay.
There was a sick bay there.
So they had a sick bay down there, and I knew that no one used it. And so I'd have my phone next to my head, and I just would sleep all morning. I'd get there and do some emails, and then carry a couple of files around, and then just go straight down. And
even
sleep.
when Benny wasn't on at the Exford, we used to go to the Exford just to watch because love comedy. We'll hang out. It'd be like me, you,
it was such a fun time.
Benny would just be there drinking. And worst case scenario, I knew I had a drinking buddy, and would just fucking send
We had
it.
some fun nights there.
I reckon I've had some of the best nights of my life there. And then when they came back after COVID, we're like, we've all got to go. We've got to get over to the Exford. Benny's not drinking at the moment. Congratulations, good on you. We all come together and we're like, this is going to be the best night of our life. Dan Connell's there, Dill's there, I'm there. I'm so excited.
The gang's back.
The gang's back, and there
you
was 2 audience members. We're like, fuck, nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed.
Cancel this gig, it sucks.
So
So
fun.
has Exford always been shit?
Look, occasionally, once in a blue moon, it'd be packed, and no one would know why.
Yeah.
And we'd have killer gigs. But it was also the joys of. It was also times there were certain comedians that that don't do it anymore who would just bomb, and it was just the funniest stuff. Like when you just be crying because the person Jamie and Jed who ran the room, who I still love.
Jamie's lovely.
They'd be laughing so hard that we'd be laughing, and then it was just everything that I loved about comedy. Because you have a good set, you also watch people die, and then we'd drink in that little courtyard.
And as soon as you hear, like, if you do a new joke and you bomb, and you would just hear nothing, and then Lomas laughing so loudly, and you're like, this is not going well.
I did not want to hear that.
And just laughing because I think people don't understand as a comic, and we know this, that if it's going really badly, it is a rush like no other.
Yes.
Because I remember, I think comedy was for me, I kind of compare it to gambling, right? You have those people who are addicted to gambling, right? So the same
Gambling
feeling,
on dead crabs, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, very thrifty.
On the roulette table, if they win, it's the same feeling, the excitement as when they lose. Comedy's the same for me.
Right.
If I have a great gig, that rush is amazing. If it dies in the ass, it's the same feeling.
Really?
Yeah. I just like, especially when it's going unbelievably bad. And it's been, I reckon, a couple of years, but there's a corporate that I did at Crown, which was like, what, 2 years ago.
I was going to ask, is this the worst gig you've ever done?
Oh, no. I mean, there's so
many. Is this
many.
the biggest bomb you've ever had?
Well, no, just when you have when you put out to the audience, like, I was doing okay, but not great. And then I asked the guy, what's your favourite animal? And he goes, I don't have one, but I'm hoping you'll move on. Burn. Right. No,
I tried to riff with one guy in the audience once, and he just went, I said, oh yeah, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I was like, fuck, you're not saying anything. You've actually figured out how this works.
Yeah.
Rules.
And then you've got to move on. But I think that's the last bad one I've had. But I mean, when you're starting out and you're doing gigs like I was talking about it a couple of days ago, my first paid gig was with a comedian called Hung Lee, who was, Hey, it's Saturday.
Man of the Seas now.
Yes, Man of the Seas, does a lot of cruise ships. And he
was on not Fat Pete, he was on Wog Boy.
Yeah. And so I think ever first paid gig and gig in the country was with him and 2 other comedians, right? And I was the new one. I was going to do like 7 minutes. Anyway, so I'm there. I'm like, these guys are professional comedians. Like, I'm new to this. And we get to the gig, and Hung Lee sees like a whole bunch of lawnmowers, right? He goes, what's the collective noun of lawnmowers?
Yep.
And I was like, like a gym full of mowers, right? And he goes, that's good. And I was like, should I open with that? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you're the pro, like, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? And so then he went out to a packed crowd in Bendigo and then does it as an opening joke. And it bombs. And he goes, nah, the new guy gave it to me. It's
no.
If you're willing to take it.
Yeah.
No, but and if it went good, that was me. If it went bad, not my fault.
Yeah. Wasn't there a guy on American telly once, and he was not that long ago. Every single joke that didn't work, he was like the hosting the Emmys or something. Every joke that didn't work, he'd go, "Well, this is the writers. The writers did this. It was recent."
Who was that? I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about. Every single joke that didn't work, he'd go, "Well, my jokes are working, but the jokes that aren't working, the writers wrote that."
Look,
well, you have a choice whether to use them.
That's him panicking, clearly.
Embarrassing.
You have a choice to use them or not. They give you a big list of shit.
The best bad gig, which comes like, which I just love. I don't think I've told this on the pod. Is there was a comedian, I'll remain nameless, right? But he was
We'll talk after the show.
He was crazy, right? And had been around, had been on TV. Turned to drugs a little bit, but it was.
Oh, I know.
It was a loose unit, right? And I remember my first paid gig in the city. It was $25 in Port Melbourne, right? And I remember I was really nervous, and I'd been doing it for like maybe 6 months, but very sporadically, very sporadically. And then they were like, okay, and through his set, he was saying, I sneezed, right? I sneezed. And he goes, who the fuck sneezed? Who the fuck sneezed? And I was like, oh, sorry. And he's like, don't fucking sneeze, right? Okay. And I was like, oh, I get him. Sorry, sneeze up. And that happens.
Sorry,
right?
I'm a fucking idiot.
Anyway, and then so we're there, and then the break happens, and he's like, okay, now I'm going to bring our next out. He's pretty new. I was like, well, if it isn't Mr. Sneezy McGee.
No.
Anyway, okay, well, before I bring him on, I did a hen's night in Epping last night. Gee, those Italian chicks can suck a mean cock. Anyway, put your hands together for Ben Lomas.
Oh, my God.
And I went out to nothing, right? Everyone was like in shock, right? And I was just like, and then I died. I died so badly.
So do you think he did that on purpose?
Yes,
he knew?
100%.
Oh,
Like he just
no.
threw you under the bus.
Just threw me under the bus. And then like after I was like a bit shell shocked, right? And then I was like, I remember just going, well, that's, gee, how good's comedy? And then like go back maybe 3 years, right? I'm emceeing at a gig. It was called Checkpoint Charlie at the time in the city. I was like emceeing, right? And he was on. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell the story.
Great.
I'm going to tell the story. I was like, oh, I got him right. And so I told the story. And I was getting good laughs, right? And he was smiling and laughing because he's a good guy. Like, but it's just that same thing that I'll never forget it. Then I told the story. I was like, when you bring him on, do like 3 slow claps, right? And I was like, okay, cool. So he comes up, and then I was like, I got him. But nah, he got me.
Of course he did.
He got me because then out of his bag, out of his pockets, he just pulled out 2 ounces of mushrooms. He goes, who wants mushrooms? And the crowd went crazy. And then he sold mushrooms on the stage and then got a standing ovation when he walked out. I was like, he's good. I can't beat him. I can't beat him.
I know exactly who you're talking about now. Man,
amazing.
there's nothing worse than a bad intro, but particularly when you when a mate does it on purpose to fucking stitch you. Like I was doing Catfish maybe 5 years ago. Kyle Legacy was emceeing, and I said, mate, the people from the festival are here. See my first set ever.
Worst mistake.
I want to get on Comedy Up Late, please. Just don't. And he's like, nah, man, I got you. I was like, good. I really want to be on Comedy Up Late. And he's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I live with this guy in Edinburgh. I walked into his room and I saw him jacking off with a soft, limp dick. Give it up for Brett Blake, yo. And I was like, you motherfucker. And it rattled me. And I was like, and I fucking bombed. And then I think I emailed someone from the festival. They're like, oh, maybe next year. I was like, fuck.
But you see it all the time at corporate gigs. And one of my favorites, I did one in the Gold Coast for.
Oh, that's already. I already feel bad.
For I think a pet company. I can't remember which one. Anyway, they were all on the tennis court, so it was open out, like all long tables on a tennis court. I was like, well, this is already bad. Like, it's out in the air. Anyway, but the introduction was amazing because they just went, okay, so we've got a comedian coming up. He's come all the way from Melbourne. Now, let's say, we had a comedian 2 years ago, and I think we can all agree that did not work out.
Cast your mind back to how bad comedy was.
So, you know what? We're going to give it another go. So, give a friendly warm welcome to Ben Lomas.
Great.
And I remember I came out, and thank God there was a guy in a 2-piece orange suit that just got up and left the table. I was like, oh, thank God. Let's look at this fuckhead. And
Yes,
like, hey.
20 minutes.
20 minutes on the guy on the orange suit.
As soon as I heard corporate and Gold Coast, I just knew it was going to be bad.
But they're the worst. So I think they're the 2 that stick out. I mean, we have so many, especially when we start out, there's so many.
I did a corporate in the Gold Coast. It was well and truly before I was ready, and it was it was a lunchtime corporate for real estate agents in the Gold Coast. It is. I was like, I could do it. Yeah, Fidelity, I'll do that. Yeah, easy. And I went, and I did not do well at all. They were talking to. I could hear them being like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" I was like, "Fuck!" 17 minutes in, because I was having the worst time because they're all off their face on coke as well.
Yeah.
And there's like a real power play, like who has the most money.
Oh yeah, who's got the biggest
Who's got
commission?
the-
Like
yeah.
that is your classic big dick swing competition.
Yeah.
Like
How many
that-
Beamers do you lease? You know what I mean?
Oh,
But I'd done the same gig in Brisbane and it went really well. And I just made fun of them for being all private school boys because there was like 2 ladies amongst like 100 blokes. And I made fun of them that way and they loved it. So I was like, oh, this gig's going to be easy. It's just at the Gold Coast. How much different could it possibly be? Turns out very different. They did not like me making fun of them for being private school boys. And then, so 17 minutes in, I looked at the organiser and he was like, just get off, I think. And I was like, okay, thank you very much. And then I had to go to the lift. I had to walk through and they were kind of all looking at me and I was like, that was such an epic bomb. And I went to the lift and I was like pressing it like, oh, go. And at that time, like people were coming over to the lift to also go down to have, I don't know,
Cigarettes or some shit.
just like ice pipes in the basement. So I was like, come on. And then they all came over and then I heard this one guy go, oh, there she is. And so they're obviously just been talking about me going, hello. And he goes, sorry, I just feel really sorry for your husband.
Oh.
I was like, he's fine. And then I had to share the lift with them going down. But I didn't even do any material about him. Like, I don't know what I was like, oh, okay.
No, just in general that you were really bad at it.
Oh, God, it was so bad. And I was like, I'm never doing. And then the other comedians would be like, oh, I bombed at that one. And that's all you need to know. It's like, has anyone won? Probably they have.
But sometimes you know when you do them, and look, I do a lot less of them these days, but just when you know that it's stacked against you, that you have to then take control. So I did a drill company, right? I just made drills. But it was late afternoons after work, right? 110 standing, right? Standing sort of like cocktail tables, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then me, right? And then I love it, the archway of balloons, right? And I was like,
Very fancy.
It was just so tragic. And then I was like, oh, I'm in trouble here. And then they were like, oh, who do you want to introduce? I said, that really fat guy with the checkered shirt. I need him. We've just got a really good rapport. Like I made up some sort of stuff. And he's like, oh, that's great because he's the vice president. I was like, absolutely. Yeah. It'd just be, if you could just say if you could just introduce him. And then it was just him for 10 minutes. And once I'd finished with him, then we just went into the gear. So.
That worked.
It worked.
Oh, that's great.
It ends up being right. So anyway.
Okay.
We're
Benny.
gonna wrap it up.
Oh, that was amazing. God, that flew
We're at
past.
an hour. Oh my lord.
Oh my God! We
Yes.
told you. Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Sometimes it's so good you don't want it to end.
I know,
This is
that was
going to be
really
one
fun.
of them.
that was
one of
We don't even have to ask him questions. We can save it for next time.
Oh my God, Benny,
Oh,
you
wow,
are
that
just
was
the
really great. I
best.
had
Ben
fun. That was
Lomas.
great, guys.
No, thank you so much for having us.
Do you have anything to plug?
When does this come out?
Comes out a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks. Look, I'm at the Comics Lounge from
You are. That's your favourite place to gig, isn't it?
16th to the 19th of October.
Okay. Awesome.
And then I'm there every Tuesday as well.
Awesome.
Just doing something really random. So if you
You're
like
there
me,
every Tuesday, aren't you?
I am there every Tuesday.
Amazing.
And so follow me on the socials at Ben Lomas Comic. But yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Benny.
Thanks for having us, guys. If you're not already on the Patreon, make sure you jump on board. Until next time, have a good one, guys. Thank you. I've been fired from a lot of places. I've been fired from so many places.
I went into the class one day, real bullets. Kill me.